All right, so we talked about how trading works. We talked about a whole bunch of things regarding how to trade. Now let's talk about one of the most important things about trading, which is the platform that we use. So to do your analysis before you actually open the trade, you're gonna use TradingView. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how TradingView works, how to set it up, how to make it look just like mine, so you can apply the system exactly like I do and make the profits exactly like I do. Now, the next platform that we're going to talk about is going to be MT4 and MT5, which are the actual trading platforms, but that's going to be for another video. For now, let's talk about TradingView. So when you first sign up to the website, this is what you're going to see. Right now, there's a Cyber Monday discount, whatever. On the left, you usually have like a chart, you have like a market summary. It might look extremely complex, but I'm gonna make it as simple as possible for you. So the first thing you need to understand is that TradingView isn't just for forex. You don't just look at the forex pairs, you don't just do forex on it. You can look at every single type of market that you can think of. As you can see on the right, we have the indices, we have the SPX, we have the DXY, which is the dollar index. You can see the stocks. You can see this is Apple, Tesla, Netflix. And by pressing on each one of them, you're going to get the information about the company or about the pair and just a whole bunch of information. But do not let this get you confused and make you think that this is complex. It's a lot more simple than what you think. On the right, you're going to see we have futures, US oil. Then on Forex, you're going to see Euro USD, GBP USD, USD JPY. And then you're going to have crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever other crypto. And basically, this section that you see here on the right, this is your watch list. And in your watch list, what you're going to have is the markets that you want to keep an eye on. Which means that, for example, if you're a Forex trader and you trade Euro USD, what you're going to have on your watch list is going to be Euro USD, because obviously you want to have basically like a quick connection to the pair so you can find it and start working on it. Everything else that you're not interested in, you can simply delete it. All right. So let's do that right now. We don't care about indexes. We don't care about stocks. We don't care about Apple. We don't care about maybe gold if you want to trade gold. But for now, let's focus on Forex. So you can see right here, we have Euro USD, we have GBP USD, and we have USD JPY. Now, you're going to see when I am actually going to explain to you the strategy, my advice, especially if you're a beginner, is to have just one pair on your watch list and just in general trade one pair at a time. Don't try to multitask like those the trading scammers you see on social media with 11 fucking monitors looking at the entire market and they can't make a single dollar of actual profit. Just the less the better. All right, you don't want to get confused when you're analyzing. So keeping everything simple, keeping everything as basic is the way to go forward. So you're going to have, for example, let's just say Euro USD. Now when I press on it, you can see we have a whole bunch of informations about it, news, ideas, mine, technicals. You go down, there's just a whole bunch of information, but let's just focus on the watch list. On the watch list, you can see the last, which is the last value as of right now. That is the value that you're going to care about, which is the actual value of Euro USD. What is the euro against the dollar right now? For example, you can see it's 1.16. The change, you don't really care about it. The change percentage, you also don't care about it. So you're just going to press on these three buttons right here and remove that, keeping it as simple as possible. The logo, you can keep it, you can remove it. It doesn't really matter as long as you know what you're looking at is what matters. Now, this is going to be a theme for the entire video. I don't want you guys to think that you just have to do every single thing that I do to the exact detail. It's a lot better if you just understand how it works, because in reality, you're not gonna do anything with any of these things. So instead of being scared of being like, oh, I don't know anything about this thing, maybe this might be dangerous, maybe if I press on the wrong thing, nothing is gonna happen. All right, learn to familiarize with this platform because you're gonna be using it for a long time. So you might as well just get used to it. And also, I fully understand you. All right, coming from someone who had no experience in trading when I first started, I know exactly the feeling that you feel when you look at a chart and you're like, man, what the hell am I looking at? What are all these things? I have no idea. My brain is fucking fried. I have no idea what to look for, what's happening. How do I make money out of this? Trust me, it's a lot more simple and a lot less scary than you think. So What we're gonna do right now is we're gonna press on this button that says full chart. And once again, this is the website version, but it's the same exact thing for the actual application, which you might have on your MacBook, on your Windows, whatever PC you use, the application on your phone, the iPad. It's pretty much the same thing across all platforms. An advice that I give you, and this is just something super basic, if you're gonna use the web version, I would advise adding the pair that you look at the most, for example, USD, on your favorites, and call that TradingView. This way, every single time you open TradingView, you go directly to the pair. You don't have to go through the entire homepage and just all those things. Just a very minor thing, and you're gonna find yourself in this page right here. Now, a lot of things, what to look for, what to delete, what to change, etc., etc. So let's talk about all those things. So first of all, you want to make sure that the charts, which is this chart right here, right? This is the price chart of Euro USD. We explained in one of the videos a little bit back what the charts actually mean. This is basically what Euro USD looks like. Now we're gonna have to make some changes, some drastic changes right away. Do the same as well if you want to trade, of course, my system and you want to do exactly like I do. The first thing I do is right press, remove indicator. Whatever, if there's 1, 2, 3, whatever number of indicators, remove them. You do not need indicators. Second of all, remove this ugly ass, what's it called, on the canvas, just the grid lines. Make them disappear. So the way you do this, I'm gonna have to go slow so you can follow up, is right click, go to the settings. Here, you're automatically gonna be on symbol, go all the way down to canvas, which is the background. On grid lines, you can see it says vertical and horizontal. You can put them on horizontal only, you can put them on vert only, or you can completely remove them. All right, we're gonna have a white canvas. Now, a little bit of my preference, I like to have the crosshair in black. That is just my preference. At this point, we have the chart, it's pretty clear. Now, as far as the actual candles, if you wanna have my exact theme, which is something that I don't know exactly why, but a lot of people ask me for what's my chart color, what is my chart scheme. It's extremely simple. So we're gonna once again right click, go to settings. On symbol, this is when you can actually edit the actual candles. You're gonna have on the left the bullish candles and on the right the bearish candles. So for my bullish candles, I like to have them in white, and my bearish candles, I like to have them in purple. The borders, I like to make them black for all of them, and the wicks, I like to make them black for, once again, all of them. All right, this is my chart color. Now, usually I use a little bit of a lighter purple, so something like this purple right here. But once again, it's not gonna make too much of a difference if you have a difference. Data modification, you don't need to do anything. Now, while we're in the settings, let's go ahead and edit a few other things which you don't really care about. So logo is just the logo of the Euro USD. You can remove that. The title, that is just to know which pair you're in. I like to keep it. And it says description, ticker and description, or just the ticker. Doesn't really matter. I just like to keep it with the description just because I like to have the provider as well as my pair here. For example, in this case, this chart is provided by FXCM, but sometimes we trade other pairs on different providers, for example, Oanda. So just to kind of keep a reference, I like to keep them on the left as well as the actual title. Open market status, you don't really need this. It just tells you if the market is open or closed right now, but if you just use common knowledge, you're gonna know that the forex market is open from Monday to Friday for 24 hours a day. The actual chart values, you do not need that. Bar change values, these numbers, you do not need that. And that is a lot more simpler, as you can see. Now we're gonna remove these buttons as well. We're gonna get to them in just a second. So let's go to scales and lines. Currency and unit, that's fine. No overlapping labels, we don't need that. Countdown to bar close, that is something that we do need, but we're gonna have to make it a little bit of a different color, as you can see. So basically this will just tell you how long until the current candle closes, And that is very important because, for example, if you're waiting for a possible confirmation, a completion of a change of character, right? Which is a pattern that happens very often, and it's something that we look for a lot when we're trading. Matter of fact, we look for it all the times. A lot of the times, before it happens, we are already kind of expecting it. So we are waiting for price to complete this change of character so we can take the entry. But you're gonna need to wait for that proper confirmation, which might happen at the end of the candle close. That's the point that I'm trying to reach. So having the countdown is extremely important so you know when the candle is about to close. Pretty self-explanatory. Day of the week in the labels, need it or not, don't need it. A lot of these things, you're just gonna do it one time and you're not gonna worry about it ever again. So that's why I'm kind of going pretty quick about them. And on the canvas, we were already here. Once again, background, make sure it's solid white, grid lines, no grid lines, watermark only on the replay mode. If you want it, if you don't need it, you can also remove it. Everything else, we don't need any of this. Perfect. But let's go to trading. Let's remove these buy and sell buttons. Makes it a lot more simple. We're gonna buy and sell on MT4, MT5, the actual trading platforms, which is once again gonna be in a different video. So do not need to worry about any of that. Positions and orders, we're not going to be trading from TradingView. Now, if you do trade directly from TradingView, obviously you're going to have this, but I generally do not recommend trading directly from TradingView. But if that's the case, if that's something you want to do, then of course you're going to have your buy and sell buttons. You're going to have the sound for the actual opening and closing of the positions. So everything else, we can just simply remove all of these things. It doesn't really matter unless, once again, you use them directly on TradingView. Alerts, I like to keep my alerts lines in black. That seems to be the theme, obviously, just to keep it a lot more simple. And also, I know it might sound simple, but at the same time, don't take it for granted. You know, just having everything simple and clear and in a very basic way, especially with color scheme, which might seem something super basic, it's actually pretty important because remember that, especially if you're a beginner. Now, maybe some of you guys have already traded before, you already know how all this works, but especially if you're a beginner, you're looking at a brand new platform, right? And everything might seem important. So that's why I'm kind of explaining every single thing basic, just to make you understand and make you a lot more familiar with all these things, just so I can make your life just a little bit more simple. And for that reason, I think you can press on the button down below and, you know, subscribe to the channel. I don't say this often, but if you guys want to like these videos, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Now, moving on, alert lines, we want to keep them in black. Only active alerts, make sure you keep this as well. If it's inactive, you're gonna remove it. Notifications, alert volume, bam, bam, bam. This is also important because you're gonna get the alerts when price actually reaches your zone. So make sure you do keep them. I like to keep this on max, just so when I get the alerts, price is back into my zone, it's time to trade. This one doesn't really matter. Let's go to event, economic events. Now, I usually remove them. These are just news events, and it tells you on the chart directly when a news is about to come out. But the thing is, I've realized that sometimes it added the news which are not really important, and that kind of messes me up for my actual analysis. So I like to look at news events using different news providers online mostly. So we can remove the economic events. Perfect. Now, if you want to kind of keep this simple, you can also save your template. This way, maybe something happens and something changes, you can always just go back to your clean basic template. Perfect. So that is the settings. Now, we've explained kind of a little bit of how the chart works. Let's go step by step on all the different things. Now, if you press on search, once again, you can go to different pairs. And that is something that you can just do. For example, if you just type directly anywhere on the screen, right? That is something you can do. So if I go to like gold, it will take me to a gold chart and I can choose the gold chart based on the provider. You can see it says it here on the right, from TVC, from Capital, from forex.com, etc., etc. Now, if I want to change time frame that I'm looking at, once again, we talked about time frames in a previous lesson. There's two ways you can go about this. You can either do it here, so like press on this this button right here, and you can see these are all the different time frames. For example, if I want to go to the 45 minutes, I can just press on it. If I want to go to the 1 minute, I can just press on it and it will load the 1 minute chart. If I want to go to the 4 hour, I can just press on it. Or the second way you can do this is by actually typing number on the screen. You see, if I press like a letter, it will take me to the symbol search. But if I press like a number, it will take me to the time frame, the interval. So that is also something you're gonna see me do all the time. I press on 15 to go to the 15-minute chart. I press on 4 hour to go to the 4 hour chart. When I go to hours, it will automatically assume that you're using minutes if you just put the number, but if you add like the actual letter, it will take you to the hour. Or like for days, for example, you can have different type of time frames. Now, my advice for you is to press here, go to the 1 minute and add it to your favorites, go to the 15 minutes, add it to your favorites, go to the 4 hour and add it to your favorites. This way you don't have to press anywhere. You can just go cycle through the time frames that we're going to use extremely simply and without having to worry about anything. Me, even though I have them on the top, I still like to type them. That is just a habit. But to make this a lot more simple, you can just simply add them to your favorites. Next, we have the candles. That is to see the chart in a different way. You can see if I can just scroll down and go to lines, you're going to see the same exact chart, but in a line, right? A line chart. But you're not going to need this. You're just going to stay on the candles pretty much all the times. Then you have indicators. Here, for example, if I want to use FXN Asian session range, which is the only one of the two only indicators that I'm going to use, you can add it and you can add it to your favorites. This way, when you go to indicators, next time you just already have it on your favorites. And if you don't remove it after adding it, for example, right now I've added it, it's just automatically going to load every single time you open the platform, so you don't even have to focus on it too much, especially if you change the settings and everything about it. So that is just a very simple way to use it. Now in this case, I'm going to remove it, but that is the actual indicator. Here, indicator templates, you don't care about it. Alert, this is very important. There's two ways you can add the alerts, either pressing on this button right here and adding the actual value, or going to the actual zone, which is something we're going to do a lot more often. For example, we want to wait for price to come back to this zone, this demand zone right here, right? And I want to make sure that when price comes back, I get the alert. So I'm going to go on the exact level of that zone, right press and press on add alerts for Euro USD. It's automatically going to add the value, make this a lot more simple. And then you press on create and that is your alert added. Then the replay function, that is to kind of go back in the charts. For example, if I go to the 4 hour and I want to go back a few weeks, I'm just going to press on the replay function, wait for it to load. And you can see if I press, for example, here, you're going to need the premium version. That is going to be a theme for TradingView. A lot of the most useful functions, you're going to need the premium version, which in my opinion is an amazing investment. You know, it's like, I don't know, $120, $150 a year, but you get the premium version of the very same website, the very same software that makes you money. So I think it's one of those, you know, business expenses that is worth considering at least. But it's not necessary. You could also trade just using the free version. You're just going to have to do your back testing and check the replay on other platforms. So that is the replay function. Now, of course, this is to go back and forward. Pretty simple. I just use Control Z most of the times. You know, that is just kind of coming from habit. It's pretty much just all habit. Here you can add multiple layouts, but once again, you're going to have you're going to need the premium version. You can have two charts on the same screen. That is a lot more useful if you are using a big monitor, for example. Here you can change, you can save, you can kind of add the different layouts. In this case, I just have one, but sometimes I just have on my own profile, I have two layouts, one for the main trading and one for the back testing. This way I can do whatever I want across the different pairs without actually interfering with the live analysis. Then here, there's a whole bunch of buttons which you're not actually going to use. Quick search, we don't really need it. Settings, we already checked the settings. Here is to go full screen, and then you can press on X to exit the full screen. Here is to save a chart, and this goes especially for my students. When you want to send me a chart, when you want to ask me a question, send me the picture of the chart and not the screenshot of your screen or a picture from your phone of the screen. There's no need to. You can just press on Ctrl S or Option S if you're on Mac, and you can see it will say link to the chart image, copy to the clipboard, and then you just press, you send it to me, and I have the link directly of the image. All right, and I can get everything in full screen. Next, here we have the watch list once again to go from different pairs, from Euro USD to GBP and you're gonna see that the settings that you add are gonna be kind of mimicked across the different pairs and across all the different markets. So that is just a good thing to have. So here we are on GBP. Let's get to the real stuff. All right, let's get to the actual analysis. When you're going to be analyzing, you're going to need different instruments. For example, you just saw me mark a rectangle. Now you can mark rectangles, you know, drawing them on your screen like this, or you can do it in a little bit of a more professional way, which is to actually use the instrument that is the rectangle. All right, right here, you press on this kind of fucking pencil, press on it, and then you go to rectangle, and then you add it to your favorites. You can see now it's right here at the bottom. Boom, here's my rectangle. I can just rectangle every single zone that I'm interested in, and I have it in my favorites. All right, so let's go one by one and add every single one to the favorites. So you're gonna need the cross simply because whenever you're using a different instrument and you want to stop using it, you can just press on the cross and then start moving again. It's basically a nothing instrument just to kind of get out of the other instruments and move all throughout the chart. Everything else, you're not going to need it. Now, trend line, you are going to need it. Let's add it to the favorites. Info line, trend line, cross line, you're not going to need any of this. Here, fib retracement, you're going to need it. Trend base, not needed. Fib channel, not needed. Fib trend base, fib circles, fib spiral, fib, don't need that. Gam box, you're gonna need it for convenience. For example, if you're looking at half of a zone, you can just use the Gam box and mark it with that one. I'm gonna explain what that means when we get to the strategy. For a lot of these things, just trust me, you're gonna need them. Every single thing that I'm teaching you is because you need it, okay? I'm not here teaching you anything that you don't actually need. Patterns, don't even look at it. Here, long position, you're gonna need that. That is the buy entry. Short position, that is the sell entry. You're gonna need that. Forecast, don't need that. Bars, goes, projection, WAP, price range, data range, don't need any of that. All right, maybe you're gonna need price range, especially if you're marking your 4-hour structure and you don't know if the impulse is big enough. You're gonna use the actual price range. So we're gonna add that to the favorites. Then here, brush, we're gonna need that. Highlighter, we're gonna need that. Arrow, we might need that. Rectangle, we need that. And every single thing else, we don't need that. Text, I'm gonna need that. Especially for your analysis, whenever you wanna send me analysis, make sure you add a little bit of information as well about it using the text instrument. This way it's a lot more easier for me to understand. Here we don't need any of this, and everything else we do not need that. All right, these are just simple functions that the TradingView gives you. So that's the bar. This is extremely important because this is something you're gonna use pretty much all the time. You're gonna see me use this bar all the times to mark my analysis, to do my analysis and shit like that. So that's why I added it to the favorites. This way, whenever I load TradingView, I'm just automatically ready to trade and I don't need to set up everything else. And also it has a memory. So for example, the basic colors and kind of version of these instruments is whatever TradingView decides to be. For example, in this case, it's blue. But if I make it black and I want to make it 1 pixel, and I want to make, for example, this line, I want to make it called break of structure, and I want to make the text in black, I can simply add and save as a template, and I'm going to call it boss top. This is a break of structure to the upside. And you're going to see that next time, for example, that I create a trend line, I can just press on it, right click, go to template and go on boss top, and it would automatically remember the template that I use for this trend line. So you're going to do that for the trend lines. You're going to do that for your rectangles, just for your zones. just so you can have different colors. For example, my supply zones, I like to keep them in purple with no background border. And for example, here I like to have the actual time frame that I'm gonna be using them in. In this case, this is the 15 minutes. So what I can do is I can simply right click, template, go to save, and go to 15 minute and call it supply. Didn't save it. So template, save as 15 minute supply. Then I'm gonna do the same thing, but for the demand zone, which is gonna be in green. I'm gonna press on it, and I'm gonna right click, template, save as 15 minute demand. This way, the next time I create a rectangle, I just press right click on it, go to template, make it a 15 minute supply. Make this rectangle a 15 minute demand, and just make this as convenient as possible. And you can do you can do the same thing for pretty much every single instrument, fib retracement especially. You're just gonna edit it the way you need it. For example, I need just the 0, the 0.5, and the 1. And this is the fib retracement that I like. I do not like to have that line going across it. So remove that price, remove the text, remove the levels. And let me see where I can edit the actual trend line right here. That is my premium and discount. No need to do anything else. I'm just gonna template, save as basic. And now every single time I'm adding a premium and discount, I'm already having it saved in that color. So play around a little bit with the instrument. Make sure you can kind of match it to your actual analysis. Now you're gonna look at my videos, you're gonna see exactly how I mark the zones. So do your homework, go in the actual TradingView and replicate the same exact things. This way you have it set up exactly like me. But that's pretty much it. You know, there's not much to it. This is exactly the platform that we use. I know I explained a lot of things, but in a day-to-day reality, you just need the chart, the price chart, and you're just gonna need to draw on it. That is all you do. That is all you use TradingView for. There is nothing else. The actual trades are gonna be open on the platform, which is gonna be the next video's subject, which is once again MT4, MT5. They're pretty much similar there as well. But a lot of the things that you're gonna see with trading, like a theme that is gonna happen many times is, especially if you're a beginner, you're gonna think that traders need to do all these things every single day. You do this, you do that. In reality, it's a lot more simple. And that is the reason why I even made this YouTube channel in the first place. I wanna simplify trading to pretty much everybody, so you can understand that this is something that a lot of people can actually do as a career, because I'm not the smartest person in the world. This is not nuclear science. This is not some overcomplicated stuff. These are literally just drawings, buttons pressed on the phone, which print you money in your bank account. It sounds crazy, but I've been living off of it for years, and I can tell you for a fact that this is something that you can do as well. All you need to do is just put a little bit of effort, follow the analysis, follow the videos, make sure you're actually proactive. So like if something that I've done or something you've seen, you're not too clear about it, so you can just go on ChatGPT, you can just write a comment, you can just DM me, and be proactive about learning these things. Because if you just kind of get scared and get back and think, oh, this is too much for me, then you're gonna end up learning absolutely nothing. All right, this is pretty much TradingView. I'm just looking around to see if there's anything else that I use that I haven't explained, but not really. These are just, you know, the other time frames. You can go and look at the 6 months. Who needs to look at the 6 months chart? I don't know, probably some swing traders. But other than that, this is pretty much it. How to analyze, how to share your analysis, how to add instruments to your favorites. That is all you need TradingView for. I'm gonna see you in the next video.